This lovely box right here, as you can see below, is I purchased an industrial serger. Almost ran over my words, from AliExpress. I think the total was like $800. I did want to get one from Alibaba, but it was $600 with shipping for like 15 days from FedEx, but they didn't offer Afterpay, and I use Afterpay kind of virtually for any machines that I purchase. It just saves me money, helps me pay over time. So I got this one off of AliExpress for $800, so I did have to pay about $170 more, but I only had to put $200 down, and then 10 days later I have the machine. So I got the table, the machine, everything it comes with. I'm gonna unbox it and then I'm gonna set it up. So let me drop this box down to the ground. I'll take you over and let you see the table. The table got kind of messed up during shipping, but just a bunch of little nicks and dings. Nothing too crazy that's gonna not happen while I'm using it. So let me get the box down to the ground. I'll show you everything that it came with, and I'll take you over and show you the table, and you be the judge. Was it worth $800? Let me show you this table real quick. Yes, it is a mess in here, buddy. Let me tell you, because I'm trying to move some stuff around to get some things situated. So the table itself, the box got destroyed, but hey, it got here. So let me show you. Got the table. I did have to take it out because I had to confirm to the shipper. It's got the legs, the pedals, the drawer. It did not come with adjustable legs, but on the bottom it's got the adjustable feet. So if necessary, I will put the roller legs on it like I got on my Juki to keep it up higher. So I'm like, oh well, that really doesn't matter. And the feet, the only thing that got damaged in shipping was got a few scratches. The side guards got broke. The pedal got bent. I'll bend that back by hand. I'm not crying about that. But the tabletop, it set well. And this thing has no pre-drilled bottom screws. So you do have a good option of kind of adjusting or moving the legs over to where you want to put them. So that's not too bad. And like I said, it got like a few little nicks here and there on like the front corners because the guards came off. And then you got your little drawer. But R&R, that's not that bad. I'm not crying about that at all. So let me put this camera down so I can show you everything else that came in the box. Sorry, the camera's moving a lot. It's in my hand. So let me turn you around here. Let me see. Oh, you son of a witch. Here, no, I don't think you can see me. I want to adjust you up some. Go. Sit back down over here. And I'll show you. They gave me a screwdriver, which was cool. It's a direct drive, so it did come with the motor. You got it's a lot of work. Thread stand, thread stand is in here too. You know, I got the 4 thread stand. This attaches to the table. It did give me some extra needles, the drivers. This is just, you know, when you're using a serger, this goes at like the end of the table, and it pushes the thread down to the floor. It's got a oil spout, so when you gotta refill the machine, because during transit, for whatever reason, they filled the machine with oil. So, you know, coming through FedEx, it's left, right, and then instead of giving me a bottle of oil so I could fill it when it got here, they filled the machine up with oil. So now I gotta go to Amazon, or I use Westchester Sewing, and I'm gonna have to order some more oil. But I think I'm gonna order the oil from Westchester, because sometimes this thing freezes. Sometimes when you buy the cheap oil, it'll get you. You've got all the screws, screwdriver, bolts. What? Hold on a second. Did they? No. They gave me a bottle, but no oil. I did not want to buy oil. Chains for the machines. Okay. As you see, there's oil everywhere. That's stupid. Got your pedal cable. Got your, you know, the little thing that sits underneath the lever for your feet to control it. And then you've got a couple more screws, yada. No instructions, buddy. None. And this is a demonstration to the machine, but it's not in my, well, the back is in English, but it's for error codes, but it's pretty much useless. But I do like on this, you've got the position and the speed, so I'll never have to, you know, go fast or go slow or keep my time. Or once again, I mean, this apartment is strictly for me working, so if I'm sewing late at night, I don't want to disturb the people on the second floor before they hit me with the broom. And then this is just the pan that sits underneath that'll hold the gosh, dude, someone always messages me every day, all day. And like I mentioned, the machine spilled out all the oil, which sucks, but I gotta get some oil. That's just everything to put it together, put the stand together. But I'm excited, man. I wanted a Juki so bad, but I could not pay that $1,800. So I figured while I'm first starting off in my business, I'll buy this machine and I'll use it. It'll work well. I'll keep it, and then maybe I'll sell it in a few months once I've got the profit and I can see the longevity in my business to purchase the machine that I actually want. But one thing I did learn is sometimes when you're searching for certain machines, you have to understand that while I purchased this machine overseas, a lot of the clothing manufacturing is done overseas. So these are the machines that they're using. So I'm like, why not? I see them on YouTube all the time. They're using these machines. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna order one. It's just the basic 747D. And some places, like, you know, I'll be honest, I did want to buy one from Westchester Sewing and a few other places. I think it was like City Sewing in New York. This is the same machine that they have. It's just branded to their company. So I was just like, dude, I'm just going to save the money. I'm not going to pay you guys some of them $1,900, $2,000, $3,000 for a machine that I know you're getting for probably cheaper than when I got this. I paid $294 plus shipping, and I'm like, what's the point? So, gosh, let me get the big machine out of the box. And yeah, like I said, it got tossed around really bad and shipped during transit, but man, the thing had to come clear across country, so across the earth, my goodness. So I'm not crying about that. The head of the machine is super duper heavy. So excuse me if you see my butt. I'm gonna try to pick it up here. Picked it up one time before. This thing is super heavy. And this is the machine. Gosh, this thing is heavy. It is it's dirty too. And luckily, I don't really care about the chips on the table. I don't really care about the oil spilling. This was protected. So there's no damage to the machine whatsoever. The levers, everything, it's locked in. And even though it didn't come with instructions, I don't care, because it's already pre-laced, pre-coated color, and it's a direct drive, so there's no like underneath servo motor, and I can dial it down. It's got the oil on the top, and I don't know how to open it yet. I don't know how to do anything yet, but I've seen a few other videos. They show the Serger working. Obviously, I'm not gonna take this out yet, but you can see the threads on here, the test fabric, are beautiful. And they show you like 3 thread, 4 thread. Yeah, 4 thread, 3 thread. I don't really know. And it's just a plug and play. I'm gonna plug this into the motor and the thing will run. So I think overall, paying $800 as long as it works and it flows perfectly. I watched a demonstration on the video that they had with it. I thought it was what I needed. It was what I wanted. I'm so happy. I checked FedEx probably 30 times while I was waiting on it to make sure it cleared customs, crossing my fingers, hoping that it didn't get damaged or anything like that. But you have no idea how happy I am, because I'm ready to start my clothing line, get everything going next month, and this was the last piece that I needed here. I got some more fabric that I need, because I am gonna do, everything's gonna be one-off. My t-shirts, I'm making my own t-shirts, my own style, my own shorts, my own polos. I'm in the process of talking to a manufacturer to get my shoes taken care of, but those are tons of other videos. I just came to the realization that I need to let my talent speak. I don't want to do anything pre-made. I don't want any pre-made garments. So let me take a quick pause again. I'm going to turn you around, and we're going to get this thing put together. But unfortunately, I cannot run it because there's no oil in the darn thing. But I can at least let you see it set up. You can make your judgment on whether or not it was a good purchase. So just give me a second, and I'll get the camera turned around. I'll try to speed it up as quick as I can. All right, so here we go. This thing was a pure headache. I'm not even gonna lie, but it wasn't too bad. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 as far as it being hard. But let's just start off here. It's self-explanatory. We're just putting the legs together. You've got the 2 bars. You're gonna put the 4 screws in. You're gonna grab the bottom plate where the foot pedals sit. You're gonna put the screws in there. You're gonna lock that bad boy down. It sucks that it didn't come with instructions, but you do have the visual, like the pictures of the machine to look at while you're trying to put it together. So it's kind of the same as like any other machine that you would look at, so it wasn't that hard for me. So here I am, we're just putting the legs on the table once again so I don't repeat myself 10 times. I'm just looking off the picture, and then bam, set the legs up. I'm gonna go back through the picture again. When you do position the legs, because there's no pre-drilled holes, I would move the leg that is closest over just enough to fit the motor and balance out the weight of the machine. That's basically what I'm eyeing it off of. And then you're just gonna take there's like a little bag of screws that are made specifically for the legs. You can kind of tell because they have like the washer attached to the top. So you're just gonna take those 4 screws and kind of put them down. It sucks because it was late at night and I had to be very, very quiet. I wish I would have had my power drill. But I had this little bitty drill that I was trying to be quiet as possible so I didn't wake up my neighbors because it was really late. And then next you're just gonna go through, you're gonna put your little drawer on the side. It's the littlest screws possible. It takes like maybe 6, but I have no clue which screw is which. So I'm just kind of experimenting, trying my best to put what screw fits in what spot. But man, I had a tough time. And then when you're screwing down the little whatever box where you're gonna keep your bobbins and everything in, you're just gonna put the screws down tight enough to where you can still slide out the drawer, you know, because if you put them down all the way, like you tighten them down really tight, the little, I guess, rails, whatever you want to call them, the drawer just simply won't open. So just adjust them, put them down as best you can and adjust them. I bought this little screwdriver from Walmart. Let me tell you something, this thing sucks, buddy. I charged it up, but it still sucks. It had no power. I have no clue why they didn't put pre-drilled holes in. That made me so upset. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I'm just trying to power through this thing and get it done as best as I can because I'm just really excited. When I'm excited, I get impatient. And once I'm impatient, I have to get something done. I think it's like maybe 11 at night. So after that, oops, sorry about my butt being in the way, by the way. It's gonna happen a couple times. The little cable thing, whatever you want to call it, that hooks up to the pedal, it's just 2 screws. Center it about 20% or so from the leg, but you can wait to put this on last. Like you could flip the table upside down and just hook your pedal up and then move it over. But I kind of know where these go because I've put, obviously I've got the straight stitch machine, so I kind of know where to position it at. So I just made my best eye judgment, and if I need to move it, I'll move it when I hook up the pedals. But I think R&R, I got it in its best spot. It's 1 screw in the front, one screw in the front, 1 screw in the back, and then there's 1 screw on the side. And then you have to always make sure that you don't extend it out too far to where it cannot connect into the back of the motor, because it's one of the 4 wires that you're going to use when you are putting that sucker together. Next, good old motor. You can either move it back a little bit, and some like it very, very close to the table. I put it back maybe about a ½ an inch or less, maybe just a little bit less than ½ an inch. I think it's off of preference. I don't think it has anything to do with a specific spot where you really want it to go. Not in my opinion, not in my opinion. Because some like it really, really up close. Some like it a little back. It just all depends to me on the person, but it wasn't too bad. Yep. And there's my neighbor. That's what I looked at. I heard her say, "The heck is he doing over there?" So I'm like, I'm trying to go as fast as I can. They'll just have to deal with it because I'm already in too deep right now. And bam, I lost probably 2 to 3 screws. I cannot find out where they are. I have no clue where they are. I went on a journey looking for them. Luckily, I keep a drawer in the kitchen with some spare screws, but I got the motor down, and I'm just pretty much going to move on to the next step after this. I'm just going to lay the table down on its side. What I'm trying to do now is there are 4 holes of the bolts that are going to hold the plate that the serger itself is going to sit in. The holes are very, very tight, so I tried to push them in with my hand. I couldn't. I had to go get a C-clamp and just push those in. Now we're going to go to the bolts that are actually going to bolt in the plate. It's going to go washer, then there's a little ring, and then there's going to go the big rubber plate. That is it. You are just simply going to do that 4 times because there's 4 bolts. And then those 4 bolts are going to go through the plate and into the 4 holes that were right there that I just put in to hold the machine down. So it's not really that bad. So I've got those suckers together, and then I'm gonna walk over and then I'm gonna put the plate together. So we're getting very, 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 very close to the end. All right, lay the plate down. And like I said, those 4 holes that you put those screws in, the first time you're just gonna attach them. It's plain and simple at this point. You're just gonna walk them down. I recommend do not tighten them too tight, because with those rubber washers, you will keep spinning, and to me what will happen is you will tie those down so tight it will strip those bigger bolts on the opposite side. So once you kind of feel a little bit of pressure as to when you try to kind of pick the plate up itself, I would back off of it, because you do not want to strip that screw inside of that wood, because when you go to sew on the machine itself, it will just shake. That plate is designed, and those rubber bushings are designed to work together to eliminate a lot of the vibration that might come when you are running these machines at high speeds. So just keep that in mind when you're tightening down those bolts. Don't go too tight. Now this thing is the thread stand that catches the thread. I got really confused on this sucker, and I was like, I kept staring at it. I'm like, am I going the wrong way? Am I going the right way? But when I went back and referenced the picture, I figured out, I'm like, oh, okay, it does go to the short side. It's just 3 really little bitty screws. Once again, the holes are not pre-drilled, and that's what made such a headache. And probably a couple of minutes before this, my neighbor got so upset. I heard her pound on the wall, so I'm like, okay. I'll back off the drill. But I was kind of salty. My hands were so tired at this point. I was just about ready to give up, because it was just such a long night, and I needed to get some sleep. But I was just trying to power through it, because once again, I was super excited. I had to finish this. It consumed my mind. So and I think it'll work best too if you have the ability to have the drill maybe do it at a proper time, because I think it would have went a lot faster had I just had my power drill and used a drill bit just to pre-drill all the holes. After everything got set down, that would have helped me out a lot. But we're almost at the finish line. It's not very difficult to put together, in my opinion. So we're gonna turn the machine, or not the machine, the table, right side up, set it on the ground. We're into the home stretch right now, buddy, I'll tell you that much. You're gonna there's like a little cover that goes over the top. Once again, it's 3 screws. There's no holes, but it's self-explanatory where it goes. Like I mentioned before, I'm visualizing everything off of the picture and my knowledge of dealing with these machines to understand how they go. These screws were a headache. I don't know why. They didn't have the self tappers on them, so a couple times they did fall out. I tried my best. Once I like got it in, it's almost as if like it started to like kind of like tighten up too much to where the plastic started to like kind of bow. So I backed off and just tried to use my regular screwdrivers to just tighten it down. And just these 3 little screws, they were just such a pain. But hey, the reward at the end, we're almost there. My hands are getting extremely tired, and I just want to get done. So now basically, after you hook up the thread stand, the plate's already in, you're just gonna simply grab the head. There are 4 rubber bushings with these little rods that stick out, and you have to take the head of the serger and you have to position them in. They're very flimsy, so whatever you do, do not pinch your finger. You just have to kind of feel where they are, slide the machine in one by one, and once it drops in, you'll feel pretty good. But whatever you do, do not pinch your fingers. And keep in mind that there are 2 wires behind the back of the machine. So try your best not to, while you're trying to position the head in, to pinch those wires, because the other wire, like, it's very little, it's very flimsy, and if you were to catch that wire and get it pinched between those 2 pieces of metal, especially with the weight of the serger itself, it's going to, you'll have a dead duck immediately, and then you'll have to rewire it through the machine, and I don't know how to do that. So bam, whew, finally I've got that sucker done. There's pretty much nothing left, but I have to hook up the thread stand I don't like how low these machines sit without casters, just because when you add all the weight, these things drop all the way down to the ground, and it being in such a small space, I'm probably going to put it on casters as well, just to keep it moving around. Now the thread stand, I would say this is kind of a pain, but I took a screenshot of the picture that was on the main page, so I'm just basically visualizing the picture and just trying my best to copy the picture, and it proved to work out pretty well. It was pretty simple. It's just time consuming, a lot of little screws. I wish they would have had one bar. For the life of me, I do not understand why they take the top and the bottom and don't make it just one bar. And just, I think it's the stupidest thing on earth, but hey, they made it, I didn't. So the smaller one that goes inside the table, there's a washer and a rubber bushing and a nut. And then you just tighten it down to the table. Don't tighten it down too tight, because if you do, that rubber washer will just split, and then that thing will spin forever, or until you have to go get a new washer. And I find it that a lot of the parts that are on these machines, you cannot get them from like hardware stores. Like they never have that exact size. So don't ever make the mistake of tightening something down too tight, because you will live to regret it. Minus like the little screws, you're not gonna find anything. It just seems like you can never find it. So after you there's 2 rods that go on the bottom. Those are gonna be they're identifiable because they have 4 holes and there's no black bushing. So you know those are for the thread stands. The thread stands themselves, you just stick the rod through. There's a little washer. You're going to tighten that little washer down by hand. You don't have to tighten it that tight. Stick your little spool cover, and that's it. And then you're going to go back underneath, and there's another washer to adhere it to the pole itself. Gosh, I feel so dumbfounded at this point. So you're going to put the 4 of those together. We are almost done. Thank God. For some reason on these, after a couple of days, I understand why they put the additional rod in the middle. I think basically it's so you can keep the upper and the looper thread separate. I think you're gonna run it on the far right side, which is the closest to the end. You're gonna run those 2 looper threads through there, and when you put that metal rod in there, there's like an extra bar with the 4 extra holes. I think it helps to keep those threads further separate when you are sewing, so they can never become tangled together. So I can understand why they added that, and looking back on it now, I do think it's a cool feature to add to the Sergers, because when you do have those 4 threads, like the direction in which you're gonna put the thread, when it kind of crosses over and comes down to the machine, you do kind of want to just every point you want to keep those far away from each other as possible. And it's pretty easy, man. Just look at the picture, because that's all I'm doing. Like I mentioned, when the boxes got in transport, there were a few things that did fall out, and I think the instructions to how to set the machine up was one of the pieces. I did end up losing the screws to the legs too, but oddly enough, the screws that I had in an old TV bracket box were the same exact screws. So I only needed 4 of those screws, so whew, thank God. But man, I did lose the brackets to the foot pedals, which sucks so bad. But after getting that all bolted together, I'm done. And this is it. There's nothing more but just taking the wires, and as I mentioned, there's a couple chains And the wires, there's a very small opening in the back of the machine. You can kind of pick one. There's one straight down from the cord that I'm holding in my hand, and then there's one on the left hand corner. I don't preferably like the one that's on the left hand corner as much, so I'm gonna kind of use the one in the middle because the opening is wider and I feel a little bit safer pushing those cords through there to get this job done. So these wires are going to go from the machine underneath the table and over into the motor. And once you hook those wires up, you're just going to come back to the front. You are going to hook the chain up. That is the take up lever for one of the foot pedals. And then you have to get the little rod and position it for your other foot pedal, because these are double foot pedal machines, and bam, sucker is all done. This is the next day though. I went and grabbed some thread. The only thing now I'm missing is I have to get some oil. And once I get some oil, they say never to run this machine ever without oil, so I'm not going to turn the machine on, but I am going to get it threaded. I've already placed my order for my oil on Amazon, and here in the next video I will show you how the machine works, and you be the judge. Was this machine worth the $249 plus shipping? I think so. I appreciate you guys' time. Once again, this is Cedric. I'm out. Peace.